Hello, my name is Ken Fink, and today I'm going to talk to you about charts, navigation, and how to read the sea, including the wind, the waves, the tides, the currents, all those elements you need to know to be a safe paddler. My experience is both as an oceanographer, now retired from the University of Maine, but also as someone who's paddled in places such as Hudson Bay, Labrador, Iceland, the West Indies, the west coast of the United States, and of course the wonderful shoreline of Maine. Well, the first part of learning about navigation is using a nautical chart. And nautical charts are simply an aerial photograph of a portion of the earth that's set up in such a way that we can use it for navigation. Now remember, the people who designed these charts wanted to make life as easy for us as possible so we can make very quick and very sound decisions. So always keep that element in mind. First, they've shown you the land area, which is yellow, and you can see some of this out here on even some of the islands, which have contours on them to give you an idea of the elevation of that island. You'll see that the ocean is always shown in white with contour lines. Here we have blue. The light blue indicates the shallow areas close to shore and around the islands as well. And the green shows you then that area that's covered and uncovered by the tide. There are also some rather interesting aspects to this chart because it shows us the Saco Bay area. And this could be any place in the world, but we're using Saco Bay because it has so many of the elements we need to learn something about. Let's look at some of the features in the lower part of Saco Bay from a kayaker's perspective. First, let's look at the pool, which is a large, shallow area that's surrounded on both sides and is completely protected from the open ocean. This area drains and fills twice every day. This is a good point to keep in mind if you were going to paddle around in here as a beginner, because you might leave your boat over here, come back a couple of hours later, and the water will be quite far away from you. Another shallow protected area is out here in the Wood Island Harbor. Notice that this area is completely protected except from the northeast or the east for waves or wind. Connecting these two areas is a channel through which all of the water that fills and empties from the pool moves. This area oftentimes has a lot of boat traffic, which is moving in and out from the pool to the Wood Island Harbor area. These boats have very large wakes, which can hit the shorelines and reflect back. So if you were to paddle through this area, you would have to contend with boat traffic, boat wakes, reflected waves from those wakes, and even standing waves, which develop when you have very fast-moving water and shallow depths. Let's take a look at some of the navigational aids in this area that can help identify hazards in the area for paddlers. For example, this shoal ledge area here at Half Tide Rock is marked by a green day mark with the number 9 painted on it. And I know it's number 9 because I see that the numeral 9 is included inside quotation marks. Here's another shallow area that bills out into the main channel that is a green can, and its number is number 7. The same symbol, a diamond, but this time in red, is directly adjacent to this shallow area that extends off the west side of Negro Island, and it's identified by a red nun with the number 6 on the side. And if we were to come into this area from well outside, we might never see Dansbury Reef if it were not marked by the red nun number 2. In a shallow area like this, open to the open ocean, very large waves could be breaking over this. In addition, we have a lighthouse on the eastern end of Wood Island, which has a horn, as indicated on the nautical chart. It also tells us that this lighthouse is 71 feet high, and it's visible from a distance of 14 miles at sea. Let's look at one of the potential hazards for the Saco River entry here, where the mouth of the Saco River is located. Oftentimes we have very large swell moving on shore, and they'll encounter just inside the opening a shallow area or bar area on which the waves can dump. Particularly if we have strong outgoing or ebbing currents, These waves can be very steep and dumping, like the Hawaii 5-0 type of wave, and a paddler encountering those is more than apt to be capsized. This area is typical of other East Coast estuaries, all the way from Maine to Florida. One thing you might learn to do is to recognize potential hazardous areas, such as this shoal area with a 2-foot depth located between two islands. This, of course, you'd notice first on the chart before you go paddling. The second way, of course, is to be out paddling, not to have a chart, and to suddenly look and see a smooth area with large breaking waves to identify the hazardous shoal area. A beach offers a deceptively easy launching or landing site, as you can see here from the gently sloping bottom as the contours approach the land here. But because as the waves approach the shoreline, the beach here, they are amplified dramatically into very high steep waves and break as surf. This makes it very difficult on given days, could make it very difficult for launching or landing. Also be aware that along any beach that's used by the public that you may have a large number of swimmers in the water. It's your responsibility to avoid these swimmers. When you're paddling near the coast, and particularly near the entry to a harbor or some such thing, you'll need to be concerned about collisions with boats. And by boats we mean power boats, sailboats, and larger vessels. When boats are returning to a harbor, they'll approach that harbor with the seawardmost buoy as marked here for the Annisquam River, and the buoy is marked AR, and they'll try to stay within the channel, which is marked with a line of red and green buoys. These are nun buoys and can buoys, and you'll see that the smallest number is always on the seaward end of the channel, and the numbers will increase as you get closer and closer to the main harbor. The rule is red right returning, and so that means that in this channel, the red nun buoys on the right-hand side of the channel, the green can buoys on the left-hand side of the channel. For paddlers, you'd want to stay outside this channel and avoid the possibility of a large vessel hitting you. Now, there will be times you'll need to cross this channel. If you do so, do it at right angles, and you travel across the channel as fast as you can.